Can you see my horror face right now?
Very
Oh my
much.
God.
Yes, I love it.
This package just came in.
Get everybody out of here.
Play me.
You have a lot of experience with this stuff franchise. So I have to ask you, are there do's and don'ts when it comes to films like Spiral?
Yeah, it's hard because you get stuck in for every movie you do, there has to be a rule book. There has to be things that you can't break, things that exist from film to film. Like for me, I have a few of those. One of those is anytime I present a trap on screen, it has to work, meaning that the traps that I show you work the way that we say they work. The second thing that I always do, which is important to me, is you have to reveal the killer very early on, but the audience just misses it. Meaning the killer will say things that if you rewatch the movie, you're like, he's telling you he's the killer right off the bat, like from the very beginning, but you just don't understand what he's saying. So, I won't give away Spiral for your readers or viewers, but on Saw 2, for example, Jigsaw says, your son is in a safe place. And his son was in a safe, an actual safe, but you took it as something different. So, there are things like that we make sure that every Saw movie has. Absolutely.
Hello, Detective Banks. Do you know where your officers are?
Jigsaw?
Wait, I thought the Jigsaw killer was dead.
He is.
When you hear about a Saw film, you know what to expect, I feel. So as an actor, is there any possible way to be mentally prepared to shoot a film like this?
Well, fortunately it's fictional.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit less disturbing. No, I mean, it was really fun to be on set. It's really fun to see these incredible sets and contraptions in person. It's filled with wonder. I felt a little bit like Charlie going to the chocolate factory.
Okay, I didn't feel like that at all. But I think that's a purpose for sure. And I'm really curious about this. You getting to be part of a film like this and being on set and know how everything works. Does that change your experience as an audience member when you see a film of this kind?
It does help. I remember reading the script and having genuine anxiety that I wasn't going to be able to watch the movie. And I was able to watch the movie, I think, because I had the privilege of being there. So I'm grateful that I got to see behind the curtain a bit. And, because it was really fun to actually see the traps executed and see how cinematic it all is.
When was the last time you saw your father?
Jigsaw copycat. This is gonna go sideways fast.
I have to ask you, how do you mentally prepare for a film like this, where it's gonna be disturbing for the audiences, but is it for you as well as an actress?
I love horror films. I love being scared. I think it's fun. I think it's like a roller coaster. I think that's why people go on roller coasters. They like to be scared. And to me, a horror film is very similar to that. How I prepare for it is I can only do my job, so I prepare for my character. And
Okay.
I figure if I make my character as true to life as I can and as real as I can, that will lend itself to the fear, if that makes sense. It's the only thing I can control. So that's pretty much what I do.
All available units, officer down.
That was just a diversion to get us out of the precinct. I need everyone on this case. It could be anywhere. It could be anyone. We're gonna tear this city apart.
I have to ask you, did you get to learn something from working with Chris? Because I know he is such a legend, and I guess working with him probably left something for you to keep on bringing to your other projects, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, how many hours do you have? I learned an intense amount
1
of
minute.
stuff from him. He's an amazing actor, but he's also an amazing filmmaker, and has a lot of experience and is very generous person. The biggest takeaway, you know, which is often the case with very successful people, is they're incredibly kind and professional. And I don't think you can learn that lesson enough times. You know, he's the first guy on set, the last person to leave, makes everyone feel welcome. And that kind of behavior is always really good to be around.
You know, how practical are you when it comes to these films? Like you just said, you want the traps to work, but how do you keep also the actors in that state of mind? Because I feel like they see the trick behind the scene, but us as an audience members, we want to believe it's real.
Well, Chris Rock had a request that he didn't want to know anything about the traps before he stepped in. So in the script itself, the traps changed so much. So what Chris read was not what we did. So Chris, like for example, when we shot, there was a scene that involves a glass trap, the glass is being broken. He had no idea about that trap until he showed up for the wide shot. And so I think a lot of his reactions are real because he was like, holy shit, are you really gonna fly glass at me? So I think that we try to preserve the mystery a little bit. Secondly, the traps are intimidating. And when you show up on set, we have engineers who have built them. They're not props. They're not like things that you can fuck around with. Like they will screw you up. And I'll give you just one story from a previous Saw film. I was making Saw 3, and there was a trap where a guy is basically in a cross, and the cross begins to turn, and it breaks all of his bones. That trap worked so well that the stunt guy, when he was testing it, it actually began to twist his arms, and we had to lower the power of the motor because it would have broke the actor's arms. So these traps are pretty intimidating when you actually see them face to face.
Can you see my horror face right now?
Very much. Yes, I love it.
Hello, Detective Banks. When was the last time you saw your father